Formaji YouTube video k lia oper jo tum ny story lik kdhs k oper tai men strong hook lik k do. Hook jandar. Suspenseful our curiosity si barpor hona chaye k mary vauer engage ho jn our video ko ntk deken biscuit and tea moments were always comforting. The sun filtered softly through the kitchen window. Steam rose gently from the cup, curling like a slow dance. The biscuit crumbled perfectly in my hand, warm and crisp. I took a sip of tea, feeling its bitterness melt into sweetness. A soft breeze rustled the curtains, carrying a hint of something unusual. The clock ticked slowly, each second sounding louder than the last. I glanced around the quiet room, noticing shadows shifting strangely. The biscuit felt heavier in my hands suddenly, colder, as if it had absorbed the chill in the air. A creak echoed from the floor above, sharp and sudden. I froze, the warmth of tea forgotten, as the hairs on my arms stood up. The room felt smaller, tighter, the walls almost leaning closer. I swallowed hard, my heartbeat drumming in my ears. The kettle whistled, but the sound was wrong, stretched and distorted. I leaned closer to the table, noticing a dark smudge spreading across the tablecloth. My breath caught. The shadow moved. My breath caught. The shadow moved. It was subtle at first, almost like a trick of the light, but then it stretched and twisted across the tablecloth, thick and dark. The biscuit in my hand trembled slightly, as though responding to the shadow's strange energy. I set it down carefully, afraid to disturb whatever had begun to stir in the quiet room. The ticking of the clock was louder now, each second a hammer against my nerves. I strained my ears. The floorboards above shifted again, heavier this time, deliberate, as though someone, or something, was pacing. I wanted to call out, to break the silence, but my voice felt trapped in my throat, caught in a tightening knot of fear. The steam from the tea curled upward, and I noticed it had begun to move oddly, twisting as if drawn toward the shadow. A cold draft brushed my neck, though the window was closed. I turned slowly, every muscle tense, expecting to see a door open or a figure appear. Nothing, only the shadows, creeping, bending against the wall in impossible ways. I lifted my cup cautiously, trying to drink, to anchor myself in normalcy. The tea tasted bitter, sharper than before, like it had absorbed some foreign essence. The biscuit on the table trembled again, as if alive, small crumbs rolling toward the edge as if trying to escape. I realized the kitchen lights flickered, dimming briefly, then stabilizing, though a lingering darkness hovered at the corners of the room. I blinked, and the shadows seemed closer, denser, more defined. The creak from above became a slow, deliberate step, closer, almost measured. I felt a prickle along my spine, the sensation of being watched growing unbearably intense. I tried to move, to step back, but my feet felt glued to the floor. The kettle whistled again, higher pitched, warping strangely in tone. I heard a whisper, faint at first, brushing past my ear, almost teasing, almost familiar. I spun around, my chair scraping against the floor. Nothing, only the shadows and the strange, thick air that clung to my skin. I could see condensation forming on the edges of the window, as if the room itself were breathing, exhaling slowly in rhythm with my own shallow breaths. The biscuit now lay in pieces, tiny fragments dancing slightly, shifting as though moved by an invisible hand. I reached out cautiously, fingertips trembling, and touched the crumbs. They felt cold, not just cold, but icy, as though they had absorbed the chill of 1,000 winters. A sudden draft pushed past me, strong enough to ruffle the tablecloth, and I heard a faint thud behind me. I turned, and the chair across from me was now pushed out, as if someone had sat down briefly, then vanished. The shadows moved again, coalescing into a shape, dark and amorphous at first, then slowly taking on a human form. I could see nothing distinct, just a silhouette, taller than me, unmoving yet alive with a sinister energy. My heartbeat thundered in my ears, drowning out the faint ticking of the clock. The teacup trembled, then tipped slightly, spilling a few drops that hissed on the hot surface of the table, though the liquid should have been lukewarm. The figure did not move toward me but somehow dominated the room, its presence heavy, oppressive. I felt my knees weaken, almost giving in, but a strange compulsion held me upright, staring. The shadows behind it shifted again, revealing glimpses of something, faces. Eyes, that vanished the moment I tried to focus. A sudden noise from the ceiling, a low, guttural groan, made me jump. It sounded like the house itself was bending, groaning, alive. The kettle whistled again, and this time, the sound was unmistakable. It was a voice, clear, speaking my name. I could not move, could not breathe properly. The shadow began to stretch toward me, slow, deliberate, curling like smoke in a sinister wind. My tea trembled violently, spilling onto my fingers, burning, yet cold at the same time. The biscuit crumbs began to spin in a circle on the table, defying logic, moving with intent. I swallowed hard, my throat dry, my mind racing to find an explanation, a rational thought. The figure stepped closer, and though I expected legs to move, the motion was unnatural, fluid, silent, like